Hi, how are you doing? My name is Rohit and I'll be breaking down the 16th match of this year's IPL, which saw the Delhi Capitals taking on the Kolkata Knight Riders in Visakhapatnam. And again, we just saw a lot of runs scored, or the Kolkata Knight Riders came dangerously close to breaking the all-time single inning scoring record that was just set last week by the Sunrisers Hyderabad, who scored 277. KKR today scored 272. And they won by a massive, massive margin of 106 runs, the biggest margin by far this entire tournament so far. So that's just a preview, basically a breakdown, which is what happened immediately. And for Kolkata just started at the top with Sunil Narine blasting 85 from 39. Then you had the debutant Ankrish Raghuvanshi scoring 54 from 27. And then we all know what Andre Russell and Rinku Singh do at the back end of innings. That's exactly what they did. They came in, swung for the hills, got a lot of big hits in, and they just powered KKR to this massive total with some good back end hitting. And then for Delhi, everything went belly up immediately. They dropped Sunil Narain's catches, proving once again that catches win matches. They could have had Narain out very cheaply, but they dropped his catch. He went on to make 85. And there's that. Their bowling in general was just entirely out of sorts. They only had one bowler with an economy rate of less than 10, with everybody else going for at minimum 12 and over. So that's another really big problem for them. And then when they had to chase this down, you're already facing a ridiculous uphill battle. And yes, we just saw last week Mumbai putting up a ridiculously good fight. But here's the thing. At the time, Mumbai scored the joint fifth highest score and still fell well short. So you would need that type of Herculean effort to even come close. But you can't even have that sort of Herculean effort when you already have 4 wickets lost in the power play with Mitchell Starc and Vaibhav Arora completely ripping through the top order of the Delhi Capitals. Yes, Rishabh Pant and Tristan Stubbs did put up a bit of a stop to the bleeding. They did stitch together a good partnership. They both scored half centuries, but once they both got out, there was nothing left for Delhi to do. They just simply lacked the power and ultimately were all out for a much lower total than 272, which objectively looked impossible from the start. There was one interesting moment in that Delhi innings, though, where Rishabh Pant blasted 28 runs off of one Venkatesh Iyer over, and then we thought, if they can stitch together a few more of those, maybe they have a chance. But I want you to think about that for a second. 20 runs in an over is ridiculously massive. Every single ball of that over went for at least 4 with 2 sixes in there. I'm sorry, 3 sixes in there. Something like that. I don't remember the exact the way that over went, but every single ball went for a boundary. So you have that, and you're saying we need a few more of those, and then this game is a game. That itself sounds ridiculous. That's the type of Herculean, against all odds effort you need to just stand a chance. The fact that we had to entertain the thought of a team needing to score 20 plus repeatedly just to get the scoring rate down to being something relatively manageable, that chase was doomed from the start, especially after the disastrous start Delhi had. And they're thinking, well, where did it go wrong? Frankly, I don't even know where to begin. Do you start with the fact that Delhi's bowlers could not find their line and length? Do you blame the fielding? And going back to the line of length thing, actually, that was some strange bowling, especially someone like Sunil Narain, and going back to that 85 from 39. So Narain had 7 fours and 7 sixes. So that's 70 runs from just boundaries off of 14 balls. You take that away, Sunil Narain only scored 15 from 25. So there's a lot of dot balls in there, a lot of lack of strike rotation. So you know that this guy's going to come in and he's just going to swing. He doesn't know how to necessarily stay at the crease and build an innings. All of his runs will come from boundaries. He's not the type of player to be able to rotate the strike and find the gaps. He goes out and just power hits. If you're aware of that, Why are you bowling in such a way that everything is within an arc? Why not try to push outside the off stump? Why not try to bowl it full onto the stumps around the middle and off line to make him maybe reach at it? Or try to bounce him out. Sunil Narine has always done poorly when people try to hit him with the short ball. And that's how he did end up getting out. Mitchell Marsh puts one up short. He gets an outside edge. Rishabh Pant takes a catch. There ends Sunil Narine's innings. So you have that. And so there was a plan in place. Delhi just flat out did not follow it. And for the entirety of the innings, except for that last Ishant Sharma over in the 20th, it looked like Delhi was playing an entirely different sport, and not in a good way. They looked like a bowling unit that did not belong on a cricket field. That's how atrocious this bowling was. And you compare this bowling effort to the bowling effort they had against CSK just on Sunday, where they were very disciplined in the lining lengths, very disciplined in their death bowling, and then didn't give any sort of width on offer. And they ended up winning that game. But here, they gave width, they were undisciplined in their line and length, and they got tossed around the park. There's no other real nice way to put it. But with KKR, there was some swing at the start of the power play, which kind of gives people an idea of what to do at Vizag if we have more games here. Which is win the toss, bat first, put a massive total, exploit the swing in the power play when the lights start to shine a little brighter, completely shut down scoring, get a few wickets, and then control the chase from there. It's about you setting the control, you setting the tempo. That's the game plan for Vizag. And with that said, now it's high time that we actually take a look at the quality of the pitches that we're looking at, because already in 2024 alone, we've had 3 of the top 7 single inning scores of all time. Obviously, you had the record-setting 277, which is at number 1, and that was Sunrise Hyderabad last week. And then you have Mumbai's reply for that, 246, which is joint tied for 6th. So that's already 2 in one game in 2024. And now you have KKR's effort today, which is at 2nd. And so you go down the list. So you have 3rd, which is RCB's 263, which just a week ago was at number 1. That was hit in 2013. Lucknow Super Giants hit 257 last year, and that's at number 4. At number 5, you have RCB hitting 248, which was in 2016. And then joint tied for 6th with Mumbai's 246 from last week was CSK hitting 245 in 2010. So you have 2024, 2024, 2013, 2023, 2016, 2010, 2024. It's high time that we look at the quality of pitches that we're putting out in this IPL this year, because these are some ridiculously massive scores. These are once-in-a-lifetime events that are beginning to look routine. And you're saying, well, it's only happened twice now. Yeah, it's happened twice in the same week. The last time we saw a team go over 260 was over a decade ago. That's ridiculous. So you have to think about how these pitches are being curated. Is there truly anything in it for the bowlers? And right now, it looks like that answer is no. It doesn't matter if you're bowling disciplined lines and lengths like Mumbai did last week and you're just getting blasted all over the park. And if it's today, you're going to get bashed around the park no matter what, because undisciplined line and length will be punished by anybody. You get bat on ball, you get width, you find gaps, you get boundaries, you get runs. That's typically how that goes. No real surprises there, nothing to truly be shocked about. But what is to be shocked about is the fact that you're not really getting any swing in even the first innings. You're not getting any sort of movement. You're not getting really any turn. The ball isn't gripping on the pitch. And yes, each city, each place usually has some sort of different style going on. Normally, you come down south, you look at pitches like Chennai, which are more slower, have a bit more turn in them. In T20s, you're looking around 150, 160 in recent years, closer to 170. In Bangalore, It's around the same thing. The same, slightly slower, has a bit more turn, but you're looking at 180, 190 because the boundaries are smaller. In places like Hyderabad, normally that is a bowler-friendly pitch. If you get somewhere like 150, 160, that's considered good. Not par, good. But in Hyderabad last week, we saw 2 innings going over 240. Now you go to Vizag, which is in Andhra Pradesh. So back then, Hyderabad also used to be part of Andhra Pradesh. Now it's split up to Telangana. That's a different story. But that's basically the same region. They're basically the same state. So the soil is going to be relatively the same. And so you're thinking, all right, so this should be also a more spinner-friendly pitch. Maybe not spinner-friendly, but bowler-friendly in general. So you're thinking, if you get over 150, 160, that's good. No. Against CSK, Delhi posted 190 in their first innings. And then today, KKR posted 270. That's kind of ridiculous that there's almost nothing in it for the bowlers, and it's just batters going out and hitting and scoring big runs, which then turns into practically trivial chases unless you properly apply yourself and you just come out and swinging from the start. How practical is that? It does not seem practical in the slightest. So it's high time that the BCCI actually ends up looking at how these pitches are being curated and why bowlers aren't getting anything out of them. This doesn't necessarily look like a fair contest between bat and ball if bowlers actually can do nothing to exploit what the pitch has to offer. There's no real pace, there's no real bounce, no real turn, nothing. It's just you have to be very disciplined with your line and lengths or get bashed around the park. And that's not necessarily fair because if a batter can just somehow get a top edge that goes every fielder and then takes a few bounces into the backwards boundary, that's still 4. But that means if the bowler bowled a good enough delivery to get a false stroke that still gets 4, I mean, yes, that happens. But at the same time, it's like you can't keep doing that and just expect to get nothing out of it. We're not having a fair contest of bat and ball. And that's kind of evident with the fact that we've had multiple record-breaking scores just within the last week. And we're making par scores that are looking astronomical. We're seeing ODI numbers in T20. That's the easiest way I can put it. 270 in an ODI chase would be considered challenging. In T20, that's considered brutally impossible. But now we're seeing those type of ODI numbers in T20. This is a really strange thing, and I don't know how it is going to be in other pitches. I don't know if maybe this is because these pitches are freshly curated for this year's IPL. So maybe as it goes along, we're going to get better pitches that slow down a little bit, that maybe have a bit more on offer for the bowlers. But right now, it's not an even contest between bat and ball. And right now, it just seems to be score big, score bigger, and keep scoring as much as possible. And then pray that you're able to defend. There's nothing really to analyze or break down here because as a bowler, what can you do other than just stand there and tip your hat? It's strange, and it's also kind of frustrating to watch. But yeah, no, I'm just going to end it there. Once again, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back to break down the next game. So once again, thank you, and have a good one.